Thanks for joining us for another TLU Bulldogs senior salute video. And today we're joined by an All-American, Garrett Garza, a three-time All-American. When you think of the sports that he's been in, actually an All-American in three sports: football, indoor track and field, and outdoor track and field. It's a pleasure to have Garrett Garza here with us today. Garrett, how have you been?
Been good. Just sticking with classes, trying to finish up. Thanks, Tim.
All right. Well, we got 5 questions for you, as has been our practice with the other seniors we talked to. So here's question number 1. You were at the 2020 Indoor National Championship meet when you received word that the meet was canceled due to the coronavirus pandemic. At the time, you were a real threat to win a national championship after having an outstanding indoor season and after being the 2019 outdoor meet national runner-up. Take me through what that week was like leading up to the national championship meet, and what do you remember happening and feeling when you heard the news of the cancellation?
Well, that was an interesting week, full of emotion and just fortitude. Spent about 2 to 3 days out of the week in Texas preparing to travel, so I was packing mentally, just trying to focus throughout the week. It was tough doing assignments knowing that I had to think about nationals that week and had to go out there and compete, but I did. And then I started packing the bags after practice, and coach was like, we've had this mindset and this goal ever since I got second last year at outdoors. And I spent a lot of the summer and a lot of the fall when I was in football that I usually spend all my time in football, still kind of trying to focus on track, because I knew that this goal was going to take a lot of effort to go out there and win shot put. And I knew that I had the opportunity to, and a lot of the coaches, family, and friends that I had believed in me. So it took a lot, not just that week, but ever since outdoor ended, to try and continue to work for this goal. And then when we got there, it was a different mindset than the previous years that I got there. I knew that it was going to be my last collegiate competition ever in all sports. And I was really soaking in all that energy and all that atmosphere when we got there, talking to the other athletes and talking to a few other coaches, and just kind of just taking in the whole situation that was nationals more so than I did in the past few years. The last practice I had over there went great. I was throwing really well technically and far. And then we left, got to something to eat. And then we picked up Coach Holland and we got the news. We had previously heard that they were going to do some canceling with the banquet and then canceling the ability to have spectators there. But we were still okay till we were going to compete. But then hitting that, we were in the car driving back to the hotel, and Coach Holland alerted us about that. It was definitely something I wasn't expecting. We kind of really hadn't talked about the idea of the whole meet being canceled. We had talked about, maybe spectators not being allowed there, and it was going to be a different atmosphere, but it was definitely something that no one and that was there connected to the national meet was expecting. And me, as well as the rest of the athletes were there, were shaken. I kind of took a little bit hard because it was my last chance to compete ever, and I felt that the opportunity that I had was stripped from me a little bit. And I did have the opportunity to go out there and win, and the possibilities are probably going to stick around in my head for a while, that I'm never going to know whether I was going to be good enough to go out there and win, or how much I was going to be able to throw on my last meet. And so a little bit of the dark feelings right there, but at the same time, everything was part of God's plan. But I just reflective throwing wearing TLU on my chest one last time.
Your last 3 years of shot put at TLU will go down as the most dominant 3 years of shot put in school history. What clicked for you that made you go from an all-conference thrower to then all-region, all-American, and a national title contender?
It was just a chip on my shoulder and a kind of a business-like mentality. First year I was in all-conference, second place, and I knew that's definitely not where I wanted to be, and it wasn't a good enough accolade. I wanted to, coming into TLU, I knew that I wanted it to be an All-American in every sport that I competed in. And I really had the feeling, maybe I didn't really know when I came here, but I really, towards the end of my few years, I knew that it was very important representing TLU and at such a high level, and earning those accolades for TLU kind of changed the way I started competing. Every competition, every accolade I earned meant a little bit more, knowing that I could take it and receive that, and I could receive it for the community in Seguin and the community of TLU, which is not just those on campus, but those are off, everyone that's connected to it. Receiving, like, a lot of acknowledgments from some alumni, and then those that were going to attend TLU. It really changed how I was going to compete, because I realized it was much bigger than myself competing and winning, and that kind of helped fuel my fire to take athletics, especially track, more seriously, knowing that it was all on me in the ring, and that I was the only one that can go out there and do it. But even though I was the one competing and I was the one winning, I was winning for a lot more people than just myself. My teammates, my coaches, like I said, the alumni, my family, my friends, everyone. Kind of just taking that mentality really pushed me from my first successful year to my last two successful years. I really became a different kind of athlete, and it was just because of the people that were around me that really kind of just made me strive to be better. And then when I became the national runner-up, it was a different kind of mindset, because I knew I had everyone back home rooting for me and cheering me on. And that kind of just made the fact that even though I wasn't home, I was still representing TLU, and being able to do the best that I can and earning everything that I could meant way more than me just doing it myself.
Take me what you felt in your mind would have taken to win a national title there at that indoor. What do you think with the distance you would have had to thrown, and what do you think technique-wise? What do you focus on trying to do in the ring there to get that maximum distance?
What I focused on, I was really, for this national meet, I was focused on hitting my points where I was level out of the back of the ring, and I landed in the middle of the ring with a lot of the weight on my right, so where I could be more evenly balanced in my finish. And I was focused on having my lower body go first before my upper body in the throw, and that's really difficult when, especially when you start picking up speed in your spin, because you can barely feel how you're hitting the technique points. But throughout the past the few weeks before nationals, I was grinding and focusing on that, so I was getting more and more technically sound in that aspect. And that's what it would have taken, me being as fast and as powerful as I could, to be able to win. And going into the meet, we had, I think, 11 17-meter shot putters there, and that was more than any of the previous past 10 years in shot putters. So it was going to be one of the highest throwing mark national competition in a while for D3. And to be one of those top contenders in that aspect was something crazy that I was really excited for. A lot of people were starting to peak, and a lot of people were starting to hit higher marks, and I knew that it would take probably 18 to about 18.4 to win, maybe even a little bit more, because people were going to go out there and PR and throw better than they had been, just like I planned on to. So going into nationals, I knew I had to throw that far, and I knew that it was going to be a challenge to try and win, but I knew it was a challenge that I could accept and take a stand with. And I knew that the competition there was great. And we had talked to a few of the athletes there. They were all ready. We were all excited. More than one person believed they could go out there and win, but at the end of the day, it was only going to be one. And it's a shame that we didn't get to see that high caliber of competition compete this year.
That's what I've always enjoyed about watching you guys throw. There seemed to be a real camaraderie among all the competitors, every competitor encouraging the other competitor to throw as far as he could. And I get the sense that that was the way you felt among these guys going into that meet.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, question number 4 is, you were an All-American in 3 sports: football, outdoor track, and indoor track and field. What did it take for you in terms of time commitments and preparation to achieve those awards?
Ooh, time preparation, especially in the spring, was a little difficult. Where I would have spring ball, spring off season, and track going on in full swing. I knew that I wanted to be able to compete in all my events all 4 years in both sports. And I knew that it was going to be difficult, especially in the spring, but I knew that it was something that I wanted to do for the school and for my family. I During the fall, I knew that football was going to be very strenuous, very time consuming, physically consuming. It would I was a little bit banged up throughout the season, but I knew that, with the treatment we had on staff and the coaches, I was able to push through a lot of adversity going through football to where I was able to finish the season and be able to continue competing in that. And for football the aspect, the head coaches that I've had were always very lenient with me. They would allow me to be able to miss some workouts because I had a track meet the next day where I was going to travel throughout off season, and that really helped me be able to compete at the highest caliber that I was going to be able to. They were always very supportive of me being a dual sport athlete. They thought it made me a better football player, and I knew that that isn't just something that happens at a university, and I knew that they really cared for me. So the coaches really helped me be able to be the best athlete I was. In track, they understood about that too. I missed off season for track because I was in football season, and they really understood that. And then when I came, as soon as I was done from football, I would come for track, and I would start. First day I was off, I would take every workout and every practice seriously. All my coaches knew that I was that type of athlete that when I wanted to work and get in practice, I was going to be there the first day that I could. And that really kind of just helped me change my mindset that I was taking everything seriously. I wasn't taking days off from one sport to the other, except for in the summer when after nationals was over, I'd have a week or two break, and then I would start training for the fall coming for football. So it took a lot of time, a lot of effort, but I had my family and my friends, and especially for football, I had my teammates pushing me to stay with it. Workouts in the summer, workouts in off season, practice. My teammates really helped me be able to become the athlete that I was. In football, when I got first team All-American, I played next to some of my best friends throughout my games, and they pushed me to be a better football player. And with all the practice that we had together and throughout the games, we worked together. It wasn't just myself out there. And I really knew that when I came to TLU, that's what I was going to get. And that's really what made me the best football player that I was. That's why I was the best offensive guard this year, because I was playing next to what I believed was the best tackle and the best center. And that really helped me shine because they were working just as hard as I was. And so that really helped me become the high caliber guard that I was.
And you had to protect that quarterback of ours too, didn't you?
Absolutely.
Now, what was it like playing with Wade Freeman this year? A guy who didn't play much at all his freshman year, and Wade really, in my opinion, took the conference and the region by storm this year. He became, one of the best football players in the conference, if not the nation, in a span of a short 9 months. What was it like playing with him?
The coaches told us that there was going to be a battle for the QB position and that the best player was going to receive that position. So as the offensive line, we being kind of in direct contact with the QB, we were wondering who that was going to be. So we spent time trying to learn every QB option that we had, trying to see what best fit for them, like to where we would be able to help with any way possible that we could. And when Wade got the job, we knew that the coaches made the right decision because they put the best product on the field in every position. So we stuck by our coaches. We began practicing around him. We began learning his tendencies. As an offensive line, we had to learn what kind of pocket he was going to move around in. And anyone watching the highlights knows that it's a little bit difficult creating a pocket because Wade can go anywhere, wherever he wants, whenever he wants. So that really was mainly the hardest thing. But once we got comfortable, got that kind of offensive lineman QB relationship, it was a lot easier to be able to allow him to make the plays he would be able to, and for us to be able to block for him the best way we could to have our offensive line and our offensive unit be the most effective it could be. And at the end of the day, he worked just as hard as we did. He supported us just like we did. So that way, when we were protecting him, it meant a little bit more. and that's not how it is at every school. But here we learned that, and Wade learned that because he was young, and now he knows that for the next 3 or 4 years that he's going to be here, he's got one of the best offensive line that's going to have his back more than any other in the conference or region or in the nation.
All right. Well, thank you, Garrett. One last question. What's on the schedule next for you? And when do you graduate, and what do you got planned once you leave TLU?
Well, plan is to graduate this semester. Have finishing up my 2 regular classes and then my senior seminar class. They're going well. I got my senior essay in the works. Got about 35 pages in. But after graduation, I'm really looking to either find a coaching job where I can coach track and football, or find a graduate assistant master's program to where I can earn my master's and where I can be able to grad assistant for a track or football program. I really know I want to stick with coaching and learning from a good program or any program that I could find is probably the best option for me. I'd like to stay close to home, but if that's not the option, I'll just grit through it like everything else in life.
All right. Well, Garrett, we can't thank you enough for the tremendous career you've had as a Bulldog in both indoor, outdoor track and field and for football. You've been a pleasure to watch and pleasure to talk with. And congratulations again on everything you've done for TLU and for the Bulldog athletic program.
Thanks, Tim. It's been a great 5 years.
All right, Garrett Garza. Thank you again, Garrett.